Hi, Julie.
Hi.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
This feels a little bit different because
hmm
normally you're my coach and I'm very lucky to have you as my coach.
I'm
And
lucky to have you as
normally
my
we're
client.
just chatting. Huh?
I'm lucky to have you as my client.
This is just a compliment circle.
You're so pretty.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, you look great. I love your background. So, do you want to start by just introducing yourself, but informally,
Sure.
obviously? And let's talk a bit about what the fuck is coaching?
Sure. Let's talk about what the fuck is coaching. My name is Julie Ketover. I have been a coach, an executive coach since 2017. Nearly 10 years. So I started my training in 2016. Before that, I spent 17 years in law, in the legal industry. I was a practicing lawyer and then didn't love that so much, moved over to the business side, didn't love that so much. Then I got a job in professional development. I was like, this is interesting. And then through a series of events, I ended up going into a 2-year-long coach training program. So there's no barrier to entry in coaching, which is
Okay.
interesting. You can go out and call yourself a coach whenever you want. There is a
Oh,
there is a regulatory body called the International Coaching Federation, and I am credentialed, and it's something I'm passionate about
you
because
are legit. You are legit.
well, because there's no barrier to entry, the market is flooded with coaches, with people who call
Mm,
themselves coaches. So I do care about standards. I mean, coming from law, you have to go through so
yeah.
many hoops. You have to pass the bar. You have to go to an accredited law school. But you asked, what is coaching?
Yes. I mean, I think we all think we know what it means, but what does it mean?
Yeah, good question. Coaching is a support modality that is where there's no
What's the
hierarchy.
support modality?
Okay. Coaching is a structure that has people tap into wells of potential they might not know they had. So this is a place, it's a conversation. A coaching container is a conversation to support people to up level their performance, to get from point A to point B, to close gaps they might have. But it's different from therapy and consulting, for example, because there's no hierarchy. So I'm not an expert in the coaching conversation. My clients are the experts. You're the expert. So what I do as a coach is I have you find new levels of your own agency, tap into knowledge, perspective, expertise you may not be present to in the moment so that you can get what you want. There's no agenda in the coaching relationship other than the client's agenda.
You use a lot of feedback in your coaching. That's kind of your starting point, isn't it?
Yes. So it's interesting that you bring that in because when I first started coaching, I didn't use a lot of feedback. I didn't use assessments.
Okay.
And you can imagine that it's like you're flying blind a little bit
Yeah.
because you're relying on the person's assessment of the situation as your only data point.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily that I didn't trust my clients. It's that my clients were speaking from one perspective, their own perspective, with their own biases and their own experiences. And so that was the lens.
Yeah.
So it took me a couple of years to realize I don't have systems information. So I did get trained and I got certified in a couple of assessments that I use routinely now in my engagements.
It is very thorough, the feedback, and it kind of, it is a commitment for the people to kind of fill that in. And
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, look, I'm like sweeping generalizations here, but I have a hunch that people tend to focus on the negative feedback or the things that they need to work on than like all of the positive. Do you find that often that people really sweat the stuff that comes back that's not so positive?
Human beings have a really strong negativity bias, which is exactly what you're pointing to, that we tend to focus on, especially high performing professionals who are like perfectionists and really want to do well and work in demanding environments. Those tend to be my clients, just generally sweeping generalization. Yeah, they're looking for what's wrong, what's missing.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely know that I do that, as in, like, great, these things are great, but okay, these three small things, obsess about, well, what did I do to, create that, or how do I never do that again, etc. But one thing that I found really interesting in the the kind of feedback process that you do is that it really clearly maps where you assess yourself and where other people see you. And the gap is fascinating. And I found that really exciting. The interesting part within that is you've known yourself your entire life. And so you kind of, and I feel like if you are self-aware, you probably think, oh, I'm a bit like this or I'm a bit like that. So when you go to answer the questions, you're, oh, yeah, definitely I do this or definitely I do that, if you're open to being self-critical. But the fascinating thing is when other people don't see you like that, you're like, that for me is the discovery part of maybe I don't know myself as well as I thought I did, or the experience that other people get.
Yeah. And you're reminding me of my coach training program, which was now like almost 10 years ago. We learned that there's essentially two places in life people can come from: fear and love. We called it in our program survival mechanism and essence. It's like your defense, your automatic defensiveness versus your highest and best, who you are at your core when you're at your highest and your best.
So humans, you mean humans basically volunteer, like naturally divert to these are my weaknesses?
We know that part of ourselves the best.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
We can speak to that part of ourselves the best. We're not the best correspondents for our highest and best.
Right.
So often we need reflections from other people to remind us of who we are at our highest and our best in the first instance, until we start to know that part of ourselves. I mean, by the way, I'm speaking of healthy humans who are not narcissists. Narcissists walk around, I'm wonderful, right? But for those of us who are not narcissists, we sometimes forget. Actually, like your superpowers are around authenticity and team building. Well, you mentioned that for you, the most enlightening part of the feedback was seeing the gap between your self-assessment and others, particularly we're talking about the LCP, which we did.
Yes.
What did you do with that in your coaching? Like, how did you feel like that mattered to you?
Well, it was probably the first time that you see a really clear data point that demonstrates that other people don't see you as the way that you do in a negative context. I think when you get positive feedback or people say you're good at things, you can get shy or a bit embarrassed about that or be like, oh, thank you. But I thought that was really meaningful where you could think I'm bad at that or that I could do better at that and other people rate you higher. That was a very factual leap in like, oh, I think one of them was systems thinking. And I was like, well, maybe I am good at systems thinking. and then since then, I have been more like systems thinking, like, yes, do more with your systems thinking. But people change and you can work on things and you can flex things that you know that you need to work on so that over time, actually, you are better at that. It's just, I think in a self-assessment, you would always revert back to, 12-year-old me or something and be like, yeah, I'm that.
I think feedback is a critical part of a coaching engagement. It's really important. It also can be a topic for coaching, meaning it could be something we work on in a coaching container, how you relate to feedback, how you receive it, and how you give it.
Yeah.
Because I personally believe, as a coach, but also as a human and in leadership in general, that feedback is critical to growth.
Yeah.
And
I think
like it.
you said like feedback is critical in a coaching relationship, but I think feedback is critical in any relationship, especially a working relationship. And I have always worked in places where feedback is encouraged. Feedback is the gold kind of, substance or whatever that we should really lean on. But it feels terrifying. And you would, it kind of is assumed that when you give feedback, it's negative.
Yeah.
Which is a problem.
True too. That is a problem. That's true. Right. Well, I have a question for you. So what do you think? You've had so many years of professional experience. What do you think? What conditions need to be in place in an organization for feedback to be sort of normalized?
One, your intention has to be good. Like feedback cannot be a way to be bitchy or negative or go after somebody. Your intention needs to be that you want to help the person with their growth or development or understand their impact on other people, or it has to be positive intent, regardless of whether you're giving them positive or kind of like negative. I think even the words positive and negative are kind of tricky, right? But
Right.
it's any feedback at all, your intention needs to be good. And quite often, in my opinion, you need to almost state what your intention is so that it kind of takes the heat out of the situation. Because then if your intention is good, I believe you can say almost anything. But if
Yeah.
your intention is not good, then you really should question yourself and what's your intent with that feedback. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. You're making me think though. So like you asked me before about what it is, what coaching is and how people find me and all of that. And what I pride myself on in my coaching is that my style of coaching is deeply, deeply relational.
Yes.
So I build relationships. I go deep quickly with people. I have courage. I ask hard questions, but it is about creating those initial conditions of trust and
Yes.
intimacy.
Yes.
And I think you need to have trust. I think if you have trust and you have relationship, you can pretty much say anything.
Yes.
And even if you make a mistake or you hurt somebody, you can quickly repair. There's nothing really that you can't say when you have those conditions, right? When those conditions are in place. So to me, like a healthy feedback culture has psychological safety and trust.
You are absolutely right. People need to feel safe and at home or comfortable in order to give feedback, especially if you're giving feedback to someone who's more experienced than you or someone who's more senior than you. You know, it's a very broad landscape of feedback, and the dynamics within all of that are huge. But it is quite hard to create an environment where everybody feels safe, at home, comfortable, like that, and then all times with all circumstances. Like I think that is a tricky thing to do.
Absolutely. It is. Especially in today's world where like there's so much change, people get fired, like things happen, right? Like
Yes.
AI is changing the workforce. And I don't actually think personally that you can guarantee psychological safety. You can't make a promise of psychological safety. You can just
And
create
when you say psychological safety, that is quite it sounds like
loaded.
quite a hardcore loaded term. Yeah. What
Yeah.
is that? What does it actually mean in kind of like
Yeah.
simple language?
Yeah. I mean, I think it means different things to different people. But for me, what it means is that you can come to work being who you are, feeling like you can say what is on your heart and mind without retaliation or either danger, psychological danger, or any sort of danger, that you can say what you think.
Yeah.
That there's sort of like you can be vulnerable, you can be real.
Yeah.
Again, without fear of repercussions.
And do you think that has almost two elements to it? So one is how you feel about yourself, because it takes some kind of level of like confidence or comfort or, you know, acceptance of vulnerability to kind of, so that's within you, and that's kind of like how you handle yourself. That is kind of one part of it. And then the second part is that you need to be in an environment where you do feel safe.
It's important to have a certain level of self-knowledge, self-awareness just in life to come and that you bring that wherever you go. So you are, as a human being, I think, responsible to be doing your own work, whatever that means. It means different things to different people. But, you know, I've been in therapy. I've had a coach for many years. I'm not saying I'm a finished product. I'm a work in progress. I will be that until I die.
Same. Yeah.
I'm working on myself all the time.
Right.
And certain days I'm like, well, this was not a good day for Julie. Not a good day. Hopefully tomorrow will be better. Like,
completely agree. And that in order to be a good leader and a level-headed person and all of the things that you need to be in the world today, let alone in business today, you do have to work on yourself. And it is something that will never be done. It is almost like a lifelong commitment to kind of being open with yourself and trying to figure out how you can be better. So I think that's it makes sense. You know, do therapists have therapists? Do coaches have coaches? Like of course they do. And I wonder if that's a really interesting dynamic for your coach, because coaching a coach is potentially even more challenging.
Yeah, I'll have to ask her.
The foundation is that someone is a high performer and we all have edges, right? So you are going to help them see those edges in a non-therapy like environment to help them excel even further as kind of a professional or a leader. However, the way that you do that, you get to a really close relationship very quickly.
Yes, that is exactly right. It is important that because we have to build trust, we have to have the intimacy. The person needs to be able to tell me the truth. I do it in partnership. We do it. I don't feel like I'm doing anything. I feel like it's the organism of the partnership that is doing
Yeah.
something. So we
Yeah.
get into relationship. If the person is is like leaning back a little bit and not forthcoming, like I will say, like, what's going on? What are your reservations? I'm not afraid to ask those questions.
No.
So I do think I have good relationship skills there,
Yes.
but it's a trust building, it's a relationship building, it's slowing down and taking the time to try to really see the person in front of me and speak
Yeah.
to them. And I do think coaching is unique in that it is a space that is fully for the client.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's nothing else that is happening here but you, your life, what you want, what's in the way. And when I'm at my best, that is really what I'm attending to. There's nothing else. So it takes it takes what it takes to build that intimacy and connection, but it's critical to do the work that we do.
I would say you're really good at that. And I think that the boldness and the courage to ask someone directly, you don't seem like, well, I don't know. I'm not saying you would say you don't seem engaged, but it's kind of like, I think you do play a big part in that because you will help address the elephant in the room versus ignore it. And therefore, I think it helps you unlock the person quicker, essentially, because this is the no bullshit Julie part of it, is that, with love, you can be quite like, well, what's going on here? What do you want from this? I think it's a skill in a comfortable, warm way to be able to kind of ask someone pretty direct questions and get a good result from it.
Thank you.
This whole world of kind of psychological safety is a massive, subject area. And I think if we simplify it, it is just feeling comfortable in your environment at work, basically, which sounds really simple. But in business, there is a lot of conflict and challenges and roadblocks that come up and people relationships that challenge. So obviously, a coaching relationship can help one individual with how they handle themselves and other scenarios. But you and I have chatted about like conflict quite a bit, and that really I think we both believe that conflict is a really important, conflict resolution and basically having the confidence to raise something, to work through it and to kind of move on in an even better way is a game changer in business, and how business performance can be excelled, basically, if you can have good conflict often and move forward. Anyway, so I guess thoughts, conflict, where should we start?
What I would love to talk about your team if you're open to it, and
Yeah,
like
of course.
what. So you've had teams for a long time. You've had to build teams, you've had to break down teams, you've had to rebuild teams, you've had to integrate teams. Like, you are all about team.
Yes.
And my sense about you as a leader is that it's very important to you to have a genuine team where people can speak their minds.
Yes, I think there's nothing else without it.
Yeah. So what have you put your intention and attention on to create those conditions? Because my hunch is that even if you don't know off the top of your head, there are certain things you've done throughout your tenure as a leader that have made it so that you've had these kinds of teams where people can say things, disagree productively, respect each other, but also like say, no, I disagree. I don't think that's right.
Yeah.
How have you created those containers over the years?
I think there's almost like a long-term kind of part to it and a daily part to it. And the foundations need to be right. And everyone needs to really respect each other in how they deliver their day-to-day work and their work ethic and all of that. So people need to be really well matched in a lot of the like fundamental basics of their level of commitment, what good looks like, their higher standards, how they are at work, all of those things. There's a lot of that. And so you need the right people to be working together in order to do that. So it's making sure that all the ingredients are the right things. And that can take time to really sort of shape. And some people you need to work with, some people you need to replace, some people you need to really help them break themselves down a little bit. So I think there's that can take years to do, and it's
And
not a
you're
quick.
talking about, sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to
No.
be clear. So you're talking at this point about making sure the right people are in the right roles, like making
Yes.
sure you have the right skills and that you're,
Yes.
from a business perspective, that the business's needs are being met from a technical and substantive perspective for all of the seats.
Yes, correct. But I think also that they have the right kind of attitude and approach, and like the much richer stuff than just the skills,
Yeah,
right?
that's fine.
And
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
not all perfect, but you need the right ingredients in the first place, and then you need the daily. It is like daily tending to it, which a slight pivot this way or a slight pivot that way, or that was amazing, let's do more of that. That was not great, let's do less of this. And I think that you need both. You almost need all the foundations and the kind of basics and the right ingredients to be there, but then you need literally all day, every day to be aware, to make sure. And over time, it gets easier and there's less of that, because essentially you have almost like a collective instinct and a shared instinct for all of those things that come naturally. So that over time, you don't need to do any of that, because everyone is very naturally in a pattern where they understand each other, they respect each other, they fully understand where each other's not weaknesses are, but areas that are slightly, and they talk about it, and they can navigate each other and business challenges really easily because they've done it so many times, that it is all about what's the best outcome that we're looking for the piece of work, for the team, for the client, etc. And that kind of surfaces itself really quickly, and then things solve themselves really quickly. So I think it is like work on yourself. You'll never be done, but you need the right foundations and the right principles, and then the right attention all day, every day. You can never just set it and forget it. Is that
so it
a right or
sounds like,
wrong answer? I don't know. I'm
no,
like, did I say that right?
There's no right or wrong answer. I'm just fascinated for how you've done this, because I've never done this, Katie. Like, I've never led a team. I've been on teams, but I've never led a team or built a team in a corporate setting. And I think it takes something. So what I'm hearing is important to you. You are looking for not only technical skills, but also certain people skills that people have in terms of collaboration, but also that there's like this shared purpose that people are like, understand, like, what are we here for?
Yes.
That people get that. Well, so what happens?
And that we are all about team. So everyone has to understand that we are all about team, and everyone is there to selflessly support each other in the goal of what are we trying to achieve together. So
how do you assess that?
See, that's where it's just like, I know, but
well, this is what I'm trying to get at, because I think you have, one of your superpowers is you have a keen ability to see people. You know, like, you see what they bring, you see who they are. Like, there's something about how attuned you are to other people. Like, you know, like, this person's going to fit really well here. But like, someone's calling.
Yeah. Declined.
Hello. We're having a conversation. Hello. Well, how do you
that is
how do you train? How do you assess it? And how do you train it?
I use gut and intuition a hell of a lot. And I don't know why I pull a face when I say that.
I know. I'm not sure either. It's such an interesting face.
I think it's because over time, I know I have really good gut and intuition, but it feels scary to say that because I'm not sure that it's like a widely respected tool or skill set in life. But no, I think I love people, and I think people are fascinating, and I love.
That's, I think, important in coaching, by the way. Like, I fucking love people.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by people. I love people. Yeah.
You have to really want to be involved with people to lead a team, and you need to be able to welcome the tougher stuff of humanity, because actually everyone is just doing their best. It's just that there's lots of things that can get in the way of that, you know, all day, every day. So you have to be curious about the what and the why to try and get to behind what's going on, so that you can help people move further, faster. And I think using gut and intuition and trusting that and reading people, and there is a little bit of like that inner ask them the direct question too. You know, I think if your intention is good and you are just trying to help figure something out, then it is okay to kind of ask quite a direct question and get a good result, over time, I'm embracing that more. My intention is good. I just want to ask some direct questions. And so my directness hopefully lands as a well-intended shortcut.
Well, like I said, I think you can be whatever you need. I think you can do and be whatever once you've established that foundation of trust. Like it can be a shortcut, right? Like you have so much more latitude once people understand intrinsically, oh, this person is looking out for me. This person wants me to succeed.
Yes.
You can assume positive intent because you've had proof of concept over all the years. Like this person's been looking out for me. This person has helped me grow.
Yeah.
So it's much easier over time, I think, to say something like, hey, I noticed you did this today. What's going on? Or I noticed something's up. What's going on? Or how can I support you? Or what do you need? Or whatever.
Well, I think it is like a personal relationship. People need to understand that you are committed to them. I made a choice to back you. Therefore, I will do that. And you need to follow that through. And it's this unspoken commitment to people, which is that there needs to be an unspoken, I have got your back. And everything that I am trying to do is for you. Really. And obviously it's weird in a business relationship. You never really like make a commitment to somebody, but there needs to be an unspoken commitment to someone. And that doesn't mean that you can't ever have conflict or give feedback or tell someone that they need to do better. It's actually easier to do that if that comes with an unconditional commitment of support.
That's brilliant. It's brilliant because I think that's spot on, right? Somebody who is being led by somebody else, somebody on your team, for example, needs to see, okay, this person's going to bat for me. This person advocates for me. This person has my back. And so not that it's transactional because it's relational, not transactional, but it's like a quid pro quo. Like, oh, okay, I see this person's doing this for me. Who do I need to be as a part of this team? Like, how do I contribute as a result or as part of this relationship?
Yeah, but it's unspoken contract. It's like when you sign up to work somewhere, you obviously sign a contract like to the business, right? But there's no contract or agreement with your boss or your manager or with your teammates. And I think it is about how do you create that unspoken
culture?
Well, it is culture. Yeah, I guess it's like, what are your unspoken? Culture is such a word that can mean anything to anyone. I'm figuring this out live while speaking to you, but I think that for me, culture is a unconditional commitment to the people that you work with. And either way, even if it doesn't work out, your unconditional commitment is to make sure that that person is in the right place and in the right job. So even in a scenario where I don't think that this is the right role or the right time or the right whatever for you, the intention is always to help them be in the right place. So I think even in a seemingly negative scenario, unconditional commitment is still there.
Well, right. Which is, I'm just like, I'm in awe of that, because I really do think that makes you unique in your leadership, because a lot of leaders will sort of, once the person is no longer part of their team or they're being laid off or whatever the scenario is, that's it.
Interesting. I have always thought of it as, it's almost like everyone that I have ever really been in a team with or have managed, like I am so curious about where they end up, how well they're doing, where they are now, what they're learning. I actually have just got a little goosebumps.
Yeah. Amazing.
I don't know. Maybe this is just what I was meant to do. But for me, it is all about the people and the fact that they are with you for a period of their career. I guess I want to make it the best window of their career ever, no matter what. And even if that is like, there's tough conversations in all of that, or there's honest things, or there's moments of, well, I let you down or you let me down, all of those things, it is a little life lived within that career window. And everyone that I've worked with now, I love seeing how they succeed, or people from decades ago being, I've moved on from my job and I'm looking for what next. How would you suggest I approach that? Or like, I have a really good friend in London that I don't see that often, and every time I'm like, what's going on with the job? What are we doing? What are we doing with the career? No, I think you should be doing this. I don't know. I love championing people and helping them.
I was literally thinking champion. That's literally the word I was thinking. You're a champion of people.
I enjoy that. I think it's really rewarding. You do play by being somebody's boss, in my opinion, you play a massive role in their life, and you better be mindful of how you do that. Because, and I'm not saying I've got it all perfect at all. There are absolutely things that I will have got wrong and still will get wrong. But my hope and my intention is that you have a really positive impact on them and their lives for the period of time that they are working with you. And when that time ends, it is usually the right thing too, for them or for the business, or both at the same time. And you can't hold on to everyone forever. Like, that is not sort of how the world works. And I often am thinking about, well, what is this person learning now for what they could do next?
It's very special.
Thank
I mean,
you.
it sounds to me like the more you talk, and I've known this about you for some time, you relate to your leadership as coming with a significant amount of responsibility in the best
Yes.
sense of the word.
Big time. Yes. Yes.
Feel responsible. You feel responsible not only for the business results, we know that, but for the people who work for you and for their trajectory, their career trajectories, for the experience they have when they are part of your team.
Yes, without a doubt. It's my most important job. It's my only job, really, because it's not me doing the work. It's not me like in front of people all day, every day. It's kind of like you have to invest everything you've got in all of them so that they can show up the best they can. Because the answer is never in one person. It's that's never going to work. So you have to almost build something where it kind of sets the right culture context for it to run itself in the best way possible. But that takes time and years and kind of like a lot of constant horrible conversations and lovely conversations and all sorts of things. I think I'm realizing it now as you're saying it, but if you put your responsibility or your duty to do that kind of almost at the top, that drives you to say the good and the bad and to have the honest conversations and do the tough stuff too. So it's not all roses. It's what's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And you don't really have a choice. It's not really optional.
But people trust where you're coming from. Even if you have to say something harsh, like I'm just thinking about the experience you had recently. Like people love working for you.
When somebody left and sent me a really lovely note. Yeah.
Yeah. And
you're probably the only person that knows that, because obviously I had a difficult conversation with someone, and it was that it wasn't going to work out, and that it was probably best. And some of that I think was on me, that I didn't set the role up in the right way, and that I was happy to take responsibility for some of that. But I got a really lovely note from someone that I had essentially moved on.
I mean, Katie, first of all, I apologize if I opened this can.
No,
and you didn't
it's fine.
There, but
it's fine.
No, but like it's remarkable, because like the person thanked you for your support and your leadership and your mentorship while they were being told they don't have a position anymore. Like,
yeah.
It speaks to your responsibility and ownership as a boss and as a leader. And I think you put so much time and energy into culture. And because of that, you have a team of people who love working with you, for you, with each other. And as a function of that, they do extraordinary work together in a collaborative way. But you put so much into that. It's the leaders who have me like puzzled, because I'm like, what could you get? What outputs could you get if you spent just a little more time and energy on your people?
Yes. I think you have to love people, like we were talking about, and be curious about it. Is like everyone is just a person, and even clients too. They're all just people, and everyone has self-doubt and challenges and emotions and feelings and all of that stuff. And I think you almost need to, from the get-go, be really willing to embrace all of that. And it's part of life. And I think that it is harder for leaders to try and navigate if they're not willing to engage in that, because then you're only surface level at all times. You can't actually get deep. And for the amount of time that we spend at work and how critical our careers are to ourselves, I think we spend way too little time on any of that stuff. And it's totally acceptable to just ride the surface a little bit. But
it is.
You're missing
There's so many consequences.
There are so many consequences. Okay, so what do you think the consequences are?
I mean, there are so many, and none of them are really good, right? It's like disengaged people, problems under the surface that aren't being addressed or that are being addressed in a very cursory way, interpersonal difficulties with people, disconnection from the work. If people don't really connect it to what they're doing or why, or understand how they're doing fits into the bigger picture. But your point is so, and we spend so much time at work, and it's like, how do we not cultivate this culture where people feel seen, heard, valued, understood, advocated for?
Well, you can if you want to, and you are in a position to be able to. So the circumstances are quite rare. Like, you need all to be true, because if you have the will and the skill to do that, but you're not in an environment where you're able to, like, that's where you want to help the people that really have that to get into a position quickly where they can help others or lead.
You need to influence. That's right.
Yeah, but I think it is totally acceptable and the norm to just be surface level, but what people don't realize is you are missing the opportunity to supercharge your team, to have real high performers, to have long-term commitment or loyalty, or what do we call it? Retention.
Yeah.
Beyond all belief.
Attrition.
Right.
That's the other thing you get. That's another consequence. High rates of attrition when people.
But I think if you can have an A team focused on the right things, working really well with each other, having a really good time while doing it, being able to resolve problem and conflict together without it being like awkward and uncomfortable, you can create an unstoppable team. It's just that people don't connect that quick enough to money that it feels like an optional, well, that sounds hard thing to do. I think.
So how do we connect it to money?
I know. Well, this is what I want to do. How do we measure all of these softer skills that in fact create dynamite in a team that does equal way more revenue, EBITDA, performance, all of that stuff that most of the world care about? That's what I need to do, is I need to figure out.
Well, you can measure certain things already. Like, you can measure retention. You can measure
after the fact.
Right. You can measure satisfaction, because you can measure. I mean, my suspicion is that your team has a fairly high rate of satisfaction and engagement compared to some others.
I would hope. Yeah. I think the results should speak for themselves, because if you have a high performing team, then work feels easier. You can do more faster. The work is better, all of that. And like, I see it. But again, you measure revenue and EBITDA completely separately to that. But why do you have a higher performing business? Well, because I have a really high performing team that are really comfortable. And we in the world don't really know how to connect those two and measure them live or in the moment. Whereas you can build a model and you can predict for next year. But no one's doing, well, we would need to have people happy 85% of the time in order to hit these goals. No one's doing that. But it would be really cool if we did. In our business, people buy people, and the team is everything. So even though obviously if you don't have good results, you're not going to be in a good position. However, we have a choice of who we work with in a client agency relationship, and the people and the team is the difference. It's everything.
I think in so many businesses, people buy people.
Yes. Well,
it's like
you're entrusting everything, and you are opting to spend your days with these people, and you are opting to have difficult conversations or go through some stuff with these people. It's the same principle that applies to what we were saying about your team, is that we spend all our time at work, and the difference is the human experience.
Totally.
Everyone has to be happy and enjoy what they're doing and want to do what they're doing for that to feel like an authentic experience on the client end too, if that makes sense. So it's so critical.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, happy is great. Obviously, happy is great. I feel like that's part of it. I feel like people need to go to bed at night after a long day of work feeling like their work was valued, appreciated, that even if they got into an argument with a colleague, that it was for something, like it was for a reason, and that they landed in a good place, that they feel
there's progress from it. Yeah, there's like progress from that. Yeah.
so that it's generative. Like, so you asked about conflict before. Like, I think that we're trained to have a certain relationship to conflict.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are conflict averse and everything's fine. Everything's fine. I never fight with people. Everything's fine. Like surface. And some people are highly aggressive and just ready to go to war over everything. And so there's like, we ping on those poles. I think the sweet spot is like, how can we leverage conflict in a way such that it generates something new?
Yeah.
Some new result. Like, use our disagreement here with a foundation of trust, respect, assumption of positive intent. We care about each other. We trust each other. We respect each other. But we're going to say things and there's going to be friction. Use that friction to come up with, I don't know, something incredibly creative that's new, that wasn't foreseeable.
Well, that's where the greatest innovations come from, or the breakthrough ideas, or all the bold stuff. It has to come from some kind of like friction. But I think you're right. People shy away from conflict. But what if we embraced conflict and almost like found a way to really celebrate it and enjoy it and be like, there's something great in here. It's just that so many other things have to be true to get to that point, and that people have to not be defensive, drop their armor, be vulnerable, be honest, and both people need to be able to do that. Conflict is always with someone else, right? So both people need to be able to do that. And you've started something which essentially is kind of born out of that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay,
So it's called the C-Suite Collective, and it's been around for a while, but we have really niched down in systems work, and specifically in generative conflict, where we do that. We call it building the forge, and I feel like you have built the forge already in your team.
I hope by mistake.
Well, with gut and intuition. With massive experience, with loving people enough to create the conditions to make hard decisions that sometimes are moving people onward to something else, but having them be supported in that exit. I mean, you've done things intentionally, even though it's been by accident, in your words. Like, no, I mean, so we work with teams to do that, to do what you've done, essentially, to have the cultural conditions such that people can actually say, and not be afraid to say, well, I don't love this idea because, and here's my proposition for something else. Or I think this is really dangerous and it's going to cause us problems because. In traditional corporate environments, there's a lot of like weird politeness.
No, there is. It's like placating or just ignoring. I think,
have like in the room, people are like, okay, sounds good. And then everyone goes in different directions. Or people shit talk and the outside.
Well, the easy thing is to be like 100% no way. That's the easy thing. The harder thing is to be, well, disagree. Could we try this? What about that? Or have we thought about this? But how you raise those things without instantly getting everyone's back up and then getting pushback, there's almost an art to that. So I can totally see why it needs.
True. So let me turn it on you a little bit.
No, stop turning it on me.
But you're a leader. I mean, I'll answer the question too, but you're the leader. And like, how do you foster creativity and healthy dialogue with disagreement? How do you do that with your team?
Well, I think first of all, you have to welcome other opinions and get people to speak up. So it's there's an element of facilitation to it where you ask people to say things. And if someone hasn't spoken up, then you can call on their name and be like, I'm interested in what you think. And then also sometimes ask for, it's okay to speak the truth. You have to almost like set the environment of the room, which is that it's okay for us all to disagree. So what do we think? And then everyone throw things out there and then almost encourage the conversation to kind of be around that. Well, that's quite interesting. Like, okay, well, what if we did run with that for a minute? Okay, well, does anyone have a different opinion? Or is anyone really disagreeing with this? Yeah, I think it's quite a lot on the facilitator, which often is the leader in the room, to do that. So I think when you are you're the leader and you're with your team dynamic, for me, that is easy. And you know how to encourage people to make sure that this is a positive conversation. In the end, we get a good result. Okay, is everyone comfortable trying this? Okay, should we give this a try? And we'll get some feedback in a week and see. And if this is not working, we can change again. I think it is harder in a peer environment for a group of leaders, and that if you don't have a ultimate boss who is facilitating that and the stakes are higher, that's tough.
Yeah. So, I mean, what you described is essentially what we would do with a team.
I find quite small things all day, every day that really you need everybody to be open to work through and not make them become a thing. And so there's small things and there's big things, and it's
Yep.
almost like, right, this feels like a big thing that we all need to collectively address. But there are little things all day, every day that also need that kind of like little, tending to, like, it is a constant tending to. It's like, I mean, I remember someone saying it's like a garden. A garden needs tending to at all times, and it grows, but it needs constant tending to in order for the garden to stay beautiful, and areas get overgrown, and you are constantly tending to different bits, and that's small jobs and big jobs, and I really do think that it is like that.
It's just making me really sink into what you said before, which is that what if people tended to this garden as much as they tended to the results garden, the money garden, the revenue garden? It's like, and I mean, I would almost argue if you have hired for the people with the right skills and you're tending to the people garden and the team garden, that those results naturally follow.
Oh, of course. And it's like someone saying, why isn't this garden in bloom? And it's like, well, you haven't done any work in the garden for, like you'd literally left it. It's overgrown with weeds and all
starving.
sorts. Yeah. You haven't watered the garden. It's a fucking mess. Like, I don't know, but it sounds really, really obvious. But then they're like, well, why aren't these flowers blooming? I want to sell these flowers. Whatever. Anyway, I'm like going off on a tangent about gardens, but I think it helps with the expectation is amazing results, but without putting any of the work into, well, not any. I mean, I think everyone puts some in, but I don't know if everybody naturally puts all of their effort into that, because in the end, the results will speak for themselves. Coaching for you is 100% it, right? You absolutely love what you do. Like this is
oh my God. I hate people who are like, I found my calling, but I really found my calling.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
This is what I've been meant to do my whole life. So I majored in psychology in college, and because I've always been fascinated by people, how they work, how they make decisions, how they show up in the world.
I think the interesting thing is that you need to be in a really good place yourself in order to be so on it for everybody else, if that makes sense. And I do think that is like every session you are showing up to 100% be there for your client without any of your stuff, which is really, agree. But it's like, that's not an easy thing to do either. It's like, you kind of have to have this level of selflessness to.
Well, I think coaches have to continue to do their own work. It's my responsibility to take care of myself. And I take that responsibility very seriously because, to your point, I have to show up for my client, and the conversation is about my client. My stuff has to be handled.
Yeah. But I think that's very similar in how you also have to show up as a leader, is that your stuff has to be handled, or you have to be aware of it so that you can do your job, isn't it? I don't want to end like on a negative note, but basically what we're saying is everyone needs therapy, everyone needs coaching.
Leader care. Like we talk about this in my coach training program, Katie. Leadership requires higher levels of self-care. To be an effective leader, you have to take care of yourself. And I don't mean in a bubble bath type of way, which
I love a bubble bath.
Who doesn't love a bubble bath, right? That's great. I mean, in a self-care kind of way, deep self-care, like how are you spiritually, psychologically, emotionally, in terms of your relationships, taking care of yourself? I mean, yes, the basics. Are you getting enough sleep and rest and water?
Right.
But how are you sourcing yourself as a human so that you can show up to take care of others?
And the spirituality side of things is something that I really, really, really kind of believe in. And I think it is a really interesting subject of like spirituality in business, because people don't talk about that. But
no, it's so interesting. I love that you love that. Yeah.
And it's all like a chain effect. It's just that there's just certain people in the world who care about it and who are leaning into it, and then others that don't. And it's like you opt in or you opt out. And we want more people to opt in.
We want more people to opt in. Totally.
Opt in.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I love talking to you today.
I love talking to you all the time. You're the best.
Yes, all the time. I agree. All the time.
Thank you.
You're the best. My God, it's a love fest.
You're the best.